decided to hop on here and do a quick Facebook Live because my family all just left and my house is super quiet, at least for the moment. But when they come back, it's going to be loud again. So I thought this would be a good time. So my name is Jen Petro. I am the owner of DropLeaf Communications, which you can learn about at dropleafco.com. It's a marketing communications company here in Indianapolis. And I also coach female entrepreneurs on how to start a business. And you can learn about that at jenpetro.com. So today I just want to talk for a few minutes about something that has become a big part of what I've wrestled with the last couple of years, and that is limiting beliefs. So limiting beliefs are these crazy thoughts. They're not crazy, but they are these thoughts that we have internalized often from childhood about ourselves. And so it can be something like, I'm not ever going to be successful. I won't ever amount to anything. I'm not pretty. I'm not smart. I'm not funny. Nobody likes to be around me. I'm not brave. Those are just some examples of some common limiting beliefs. But women in particular tend to succumb to these things and internalize them even from a really, really young age. And that can be sparked by our parents, something our parents said to us, something that people at school made us think about ourselves, an event that happened to us, or sometimes we just create these limiting beliefs in our own mind, just piecing together information as kids or whatever, and just sort of hold on to them. And the crazy thing about limiting beliefs is that they just sort of live in your subconscious. You don't necessarily even know that they're there, and they frame everything. It's like a filter that filters the way you see the world. It impacts the decisions you make, the relationships you form, all kinds of things. It's crazy. And so it's something that I've learned a lot about the last couple years and started to pay attention to. And so for me, one of the biggest limiting beliefs that I always had about myself, absolutely, Rebecca, is that I'm not brave. So early on, I decided that I was a big fat chicken and that I wasn't brave. I wasn't a brave person. And so that affected everything that all the decisions I made, the relationships I formed. It just really kept me in this sort of protective bubble, and it's still something I wrestle with. So I'm not saying that, I've overcome this and I'm the bravest person in the world. It's still part of my inner dialogue, but once I realized that that was just a limiting belief that I had about myself, it was so much easier to be aware of it and to push hard against it. And so this is something that you maybe have never thought about before, but if you haven't, I would definitely encourage you to take some time, get a notebook, a journal, whatever, and go somewhere quiet and just really think through, what are those things that I believe about myself and where did they come from? And so often they're not true. And so I would definitely encourage you just to take some time and do that. So like I said, for me, the limiting belief that probably was the most impactful and has been in my life is the thought that I wasn't brave. And so I have to look back and think, man, how many opportunities did I miss out on? How many relationships did I not deepen or pursue? How many experiences did I pass up because I didn't consider myself a brave person? And so it just wasn't something I was going to consider doing. And so it's interesting to look back and think about that. I think part of it is just age, right? You start to get old. I'm going to be 40 soon. And you start to get older and you think, man, how much time have I let go by? And what have I missed out on because I was too scared or because I was believing something about myself that wasn't true? It's crazy. I picked up a book, about a year ago. It's called Living Forward by Michael Hyatt. And I love this book for lots of reasons, but the subtitle is really helpful. It's A Proven Plan to Stop Drifting and Get the Life You Want. And this is a great book, so you should read it if you haven't. But one of the things I really like in this book, Michael Hyatt talks about a snorkeling trip that he and his wife Gail took, I think in Hawaii. And so here they are snorkeling right off the coast and just taking in all the beauty and just distracted by what they're doing because it's just gorgeous and exciting. And next thing they knew, they were way out from shore because they had drifted off in a riptide. So by the time they became aware of that, they were way out there, and it was actually a pretty dangerous situation, and they had to paddle like crazy to make it back to shore. And he uses that as an analogy for what he calls it the drift, so falling into the drift in our life, which is kind of what I just talked about, just waking up one day and realizing, wow, I haven't been intentional about certain areas of my life, or I haven't paid attention to moving toward things that I am excited about, or following my dreams, following my passions. So I think for me, that really, the biggest part of that for me was just thinking about, what have I not pursued, because I just became used to being this person who kind of lived in this safe little bubble and was afraid to take risks. And so starting a business for me was one of the biggest ways I stepped out of that bubble. And it was several years ago when I started DropLeaf Communications. I mean, I had always wanted to be my own boss. I had wanted to be the one in charge of my own calendar. I had wanted to be able to create a life of flexibility and autonomy, where I could make decisions based on my own priorities and not someone else's, where I could balance family life in a different way. But that was terrifying. Starting a business is terrifying. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But I pushed past that. It wasn't easy, but I pushed past that limiting belief and did it anyway. And it could have been an epic fail. Luckily it wasn't, but that was a risk, right? And I knew that going into it. And so I was able to just push past that because I had paid so much attention to this limiting belief of feeling like I wasn't a brave person, and knowing that I could be brave. And so I did it, and it was life-changing. I mean, this is one of the best decisions I have ever made in my entire life, and it changed everything for me and for my family. And so I would just encourage you to, like I said earlier, take some time. If you haven't ever taken time to kind of think through what are those limiting beliefs that you might be holding about yourself, take stock of them and name them. It's just so much easier to push back against stuff when you're aware of it and you're conscious about it. And if you have a dream of starting a business like I did, I would just encourage you to not ignore that dream and to be willing to step out and do the brave thing and give it a go. Give it a go. I have a friend who I talked to this weekend. She's an incredible woman. Her story is wild, but she talked about how, she's getting older. She's going to be an empty nester, and she's really kind of in that phase of taking stock of her life and what she's done and what she hasn't done that she's always wanted to, and just thinking about how short life is and how we don't want to look back at the end and go, oh crap, I didn't do all these things because I let fear or whatever limiting belief hold me back. And so do you know what she's doing kind of as her first act of, I don't want to say it's her first act, but as a major act of bravery? She's donating an organ. What? To someone she barely knows. And it's not necessarily out of, it's not because she feels guilty or, anything like that. It's because she's tired of living a safe life. And she is really considering this like a way of stepping out and saying, like, life's short. I'm going to do the brave thing. And I mean, just talking with her this weekend, it was so inspiring to me to hear that and to see her. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how much life you've let pass you by. It's never too late to step out and be brave and start a new chapter in your life. It's incredible opportunity. And so I don't want you to end up in the drift, as Michael Hyatt calls it, of just waking up one day and going, oh man, why did I never give that a shot, or give that person a shot, or whatever it is in your life that you've not pursued and always wanted to. And so if your dream happens to be similar to mine, starting a business, I'd love to help you out with that. And many of you know I've just launched a 12-week online business building course that kicks off in just a few weeks. And so we're going to go step by step. It's just for women. Step by step on how to set up a business, how to brand a business, and market a business. And so I wanted to share that with you too. But if that's not your dream, I would still just encourage you to think through limiting beliefs and to just learn how to work past them and push past them and be willing to kind of rewrite the inner dialogue that's in your head in a way that is so much healthier and just leads to so much more of a full life when you're not held back by these things. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to hop off before my family comes crashing through the front door. I talk to you soon. Bye.